Hey everybody, Tony George along with Scott Spreitzer from DocSports.com. This week's marquee matchup comes to you week 1 of the NFL, and this is the game of the day, Scott. Yep. Sunday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost 2 star players last year. New England lost one of their own. Late season collapse last year by the Steelers. Did not make the playoffs for the first time in like 4 or 5 years. And a lot of expectations, as always, with the New England Patriots. Line 6.5, total 51.5. And I was kind of a little surprised to see this almost a touchdown because, you know, Pittsburgh, New England, Dallas, and Green Bay, the 4 most bet teams and public darlings in the NFL. Little tasty maybe up front at least with Pittsburgh here.
You know, I'm driving over and I'm listening to some analysis on this game on certain radio networks, and everybody's, I'm taking Pittsburgh. They're going to win outright. You always get a little bit worried when you hear everybody on the same side, but I'm going to tell you something about Pittsburgh. It's going to be really interesting this year because there is no more headache with Le'Veon Bell. There is no more headache with Antonio Brown. He took his helmet west, so to speak. But as far as Mike Tomlin, can he coach when he doesn't have turmoil? I love Mike Tomlin. He's had to deal with turmoil so much on and off the field, and always or normally comes through. I like the fact that they don't have a lot of head cases on this team this year. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be probably the smoothest running Pittsburgh Steelers team between the years that we've seen in a couple of years, and that could mean headaches for the rest of that division. You know me, Tony, as far as the division itself and talking about the Steelers macro rather than just micro for this game, I think they win the division. I think they out-duel the Cleveland Browns. I know the Browns are everybody's darling pick this year, but I like Pittsburgh to get back where they belong, which is on top of that division. Who rushes the quarterback better than the Pittsburgh Steelers again last season? And when you look at what that defense has done, when you look at the offense, which can gain good yardage on both the ground and through the air, you still got Juju Smith-Schuster, you got nice tight end play, you still got Big Ben keeping things together. I think it's a situation where Pittsburgh is going to challenge the best of the best and be in that group all season long, Tony.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the most bet half of the teaser play in the entire universe this weekend, getting the Steelers at 12.5. I think the line will drop a little bit, but you take a look offensively. Last year, you could blame Bell not being there for them not making the playoffs. No, Connor had a great year.
Connor was good.
Big Ben, Juju Smith-Schuster, Washington, an emerging star, and of course I thought McDonald, almost 700 yards last year, catching the ball at tight end, has become a threat. I also like the fact that Pittsburgh has just quietly flown under the radar screen in terms of preseason.
Oh, they've got to be loving all the hype on Baker Mayfield and on the Cleveland Browns this offseason.
Absolutely. And you're right with the division. I put a little money on them to win the division as well as one of my big futures picks. At the end of the day here, you know, at Foxborough, what are they? 13-3 against the spread, their last 16 home. But bear in mind, the Steelers last year, 6 times an underdog, 6 covers, and 5 wins outright. I got to lean the Steelers here.
The one thing you got to be careful about New England, and everybody knows it, you know it, 39-16 and a couple of pushes against the spread when they're at home. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, they don't lose too often, not only straight up but against the spread, and it's funny because in the books, you know, they keep increasing. It's like the Duke Blue Devils when they're at their best under Coach K. You got to lay a premium with New England, and they just continue to cover point spreads year in and year out. Here's a little note. Tony mentioned teasers. You know, smart teaser in the NFL, the best teaser to mathematically hit, and it's still not easy, are 2-team teasers when they're teased down from 6.5 or 7 down to half a point or 1. Or the other way around when you're talking about maybe a 1-point underdog and teased up 6 points. Those are mathematically the best teasers to get involved with. You'll never see me getting involved with an underdog who's getting 7 and then teasing it up in the NFL. That's not my thing. Even when you've got a couple of games that are teased down from 7 down to 0 or 1, 6.5 down to a half, and you have a couple of those and you tease them together, it's still not a great proposition as far as how often you're going to cash. But mathematically speaking, you do have a better chance to cash that than you do when you're teasing up those big prices up over 10 and so.
Yeah, and who doesn't think at the end of the day, anybody that's been watching Tom Brady and Bill Belichick do it time after time after time, that they're not going to win this game. So there's your tease right there. But sharps.
I think they're going to need Pittsburgh. I think there's going to be a whole lot of people teasing this down to half point, 1 point.
Yeah, you're going to. Well, a lot of sharps are. A lot of the public is going to be betting, on Pittsburgh to make this a game, and the fact that you hear this all over everywhere that Steelers are going to win this outright has me kind of going a different direction here, Scott.
And I'll tell you real quickly, you look at New England, you look at that defense, the most consistent in points allowed for more than a decade. New England's going to be fine all year. Pittsburgh, I think, wins that division. There's my thoughts on Pittsburgh and New England on Sunday night. Did he play, or is this a game you're going to be taking early season notes on?
Early season notes on this one. I want to see where Pittsburgh's at, and I also want to see where New England's at. And bear in mind, they lost their center a couple weeks ago, and they got to replace him. So that's a little bit of a concern for Tom Brady. But for all the selections, free or premium, guess what? Right there. DocSports.com. You can find Scott there. You can find me there. You can find 10 other guys there, and a ton of free information, and also a free $60 from Doc Sports if you sign up as a new member. Best of luck this weekend in the NFL Week 1.
Put him in the win column.